Welcome to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show, where you get advice you can trust. From home selling tips to investing, this is the talk show that will help you make the most money when selling your most valuable asset and save the most money when buying. Now here are your hosts, Dave McKay, along with Wally Kerr, broker and founder of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty in Oklahoma City.
Well, good morning, Wally. Last Saturday, we had a great show. I spent the day just watching some college football, getting some chores done. The temperatures are coming down. We got more football today. I know we're going to talk about some great topics coming up. I know you have open houses. The weather is starting to become just wonderful home shopping weather. We can get out and do stuff.
Absolutely.
All that to be said, how are you doing on this Saturday morning?
Just doing great. The mornings are crisp and it is nice outside. I'm a bit of an early riser. I'm also a water skier. Never talked about that with our listeners, but I'm an avid slalom skier. So I've got a small boat that we bought way back in like 2000. And the only thing that bothers me about this time of year is the lake water's getting cold. I do have a wetsuit.
Yes.
Got a little boat problem this year, so we won't go into that. But yeah, my week is good, and I hope yours is too.
And once again, this morning's show is brought to you by our wonderful sponsors, Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage and Best Protect Roofing and Construction. They do a great job for us, Wally.
Yes, they do. They do. Very dependable, very reliable.
Let's go into what do we have to talk about this morning?
Got a good little funny story for you. It's a brief one this week. It comes from Kelly on my team. So we'll start off with our funny story of the week. We're going to get into a little bit today on, is it legal to sell a home as is in Oklahoma? There's some of that going around, and you need to know how you or a friend or a family member would be protected when someone says, I want to sell it as is.
Yes.
Okay. Making renovations versus building a new home. Dave, this is one of the topics you wanted to hear a little bit more about. Which one's better, to make the renovations or to just build it in a new home? We'll discuss that today. We'll do a little weekly wisdom, and we're going to talk a little bit about what the Fed did this week, how it impacts the market, and what that outlook looks like.
To schedule an appointment with Wally Kerr to help you or a family member buy or sell a home, call or text at 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Wally will be right back with more of the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show right here on KOKC.
The market is shifting. Do you know what to do? If you're selling a home, you need to realize that market demand is changing, and it's changing now. More homes are coming on the market than homes that are actually selling, so the inventory is going up. What does rising inventory mean? Prices can soften. It's important you get on the train right now and understand what you need to do to sell a home. First of all, my guaranteed home sale program will create more demand for your home because I can buy someone else's home so that they can buy yours. If you're thinking about selling by owner, I can create more demand for your home than you can ever create on your own. I'm Wally Kerr, and I believe in aggressive marketing. My wife and I have done this for 36 years together, and we now have a team of 28 people. If you'd like to create more demand for your home so that your home will sell faster and for top dollar, give me a call today at 405-330-4000 at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I'd love to meet with you and discuss a strategy and plan for getting your home sold. Call me at 330-4000. I look forward to talking to you myself.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful. From knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984. 4758, Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank, NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
Wally, right off the bat, let's have some fun. How about our funny story of the week?
Dave, I asked my agents to share so that it wouldn't just be my own personal experiences.
Okay.
So as I introduce one of their stories, I'll tell you a little bit about a couple of the people that work for us each week. Or each week we'll take
great.
one agent who
Yes.
shared a story. So this week's story comes from Kelly Duran. Kelly was born and raised in Shawnee. She was
Okay.
basically a lifetime Shawnee resident until maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. She moved to Edmond, but she's still our expert in Shawnee.
Okay.
Because her mother was the president of the Board of Realtors in Shawnee for many years.
Oh,
and
okay.
Kelly's mom was a realtor in Shawnee for 37 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
Kelly's mom passed about a year ago, but Kelly's on my team. She's a great, great agent, and she shared this story from showing some homes in Shawnee to an OBU voice professor, a music professor.
Okay.
So she showed him a home, and he really liked the property, and he asked if he could go back one more time so that he could sing in the house
I thought we were going to go there.
to make sure that he
Okay.
liked the home. Dave, he actually went back and sang in every room and decided he did like the home, and he bought the property.
Wanted to check out the acoustics and make sure. That's interesting.
Yeah, I've been singing in the shower before, and I've actually had my neighbors call on the telephone and say, that'll be enough. I'm awake and I'm good.
You know, we remodeled our shower recently, and it didn't help. The acoustics didn't help my voice. Kim sounds fantastic. But, okay, that's great. So it'll be great to spotlight some of your other
Yeah.
realtors
Kelly shared that
during the
story.
week.
Got another one that's really, really good next week from Scotty on our team. We call him Scotty. His name's Scott.
Cool.
But thanks for the story, Kelly. We've got many more funny stories to come.
Okay, so an interesting topic here. Is it legal to sell a home as is in Oklahoma? So, you know, this has a tendency to kind of just get under me just a little bit.
Getting under your
as
skin
is,
there. Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, I'm going to find something that just I didn't know about, should have known about, red flags popping up. Of course, after I've made the purchase, probably. So, you know, tell me more about buying or selling a home as is. And is it legal in Oklahoma?
You know, it is legal. We'll go into that in a minute. I want to share my story on buying something
Okay.
as is.
Okay.
I love these old reel-to-reel recorders. You're in the radio
Yes,
business. You
yes.
probably still have a relic of a reel-to-reel somewhere
we have
here
a
at the
few around
station.
here, yes.
Okay. So I really liked this one particular reel-to-reel that I saw that a friend had owned, and I was trying to find another one. So I didn't find it on Craigslist back when I bought this. Gosh, this is 40 years ago, Dave. I don't even know where I found it, but I found it somewhere and went and looked at it, and the guy kept saying it was as is. And I was only 20 years old, and I just wasn't smart enough to realize I was going to be taken. So I bought this reel-to-reel machine. I think I paid $200 for it, and I signed something that says I buy it as is. So I take it home, and I tried it out at his house, and it seemed to be okay. And he said, I think the heads need to be cleaned on it. So I take it home and I stick a tape on there, and I'm trying to play it, and it doesn't sound very good. So I take it to an audio shop. He pulls the back cover off, and he said, oh, this looks like it's been dropped. He said, all the electronics here are mounted on a back plate. And he said, the back plate is bent. He said, I can't fix this. So here I was. $200 was a lot of money 4 years ago, and I'm 20 years old. So I don't like this as is deal at all. Is it legal for someone to sell a home as is? Well, let's jump into that.
Okay.
I guess the first thing I'd tell you is when a seller lists a home with a real estate broker like me, any broker, they're required to use the Oklahoma property condition disclosure form.
Okay.
So for 20, 30 years in every state in the United States, there are laws and regulations that say if you're selling a home and you know there's a problem, that you must disclose it or you can be held legally liable after the sale.
Okay.
Now, guess who doesn't have to follow this rule? And it's for sale by owners. So for sale by owners are not required by the state of Oklahoma to go in and fill out that disclosure form and put it into a buyer's hands before the buyer makes an offer.
Oh, I don't like that because I'm already thinking water damage, and you've had to replace the carpet, and sometimes you got to knock out a little bit of the wall and put drywall back up. But inside of that is mold growing and stuff like that. Because I know someone that had that, fixed it, but I'm thinking if I bought a home like that and they didn't tell me about that, and I got down the road and had to start really ripping out stuff because it wasn't disclosed, I would be a little perturbed about that.
Most of us know someone where that's happened to them, right? And we
Yes.
hear about those nightmare things in the industry where someone will call and say, hey, I want to sell my home. The seller did not disclose this whenever I bought it. Would they be responsible? And there is a statute of limitations. I believe it's 2 years. So if someone that you know bought a home, let's say there was water in the heat and air ducts, and the
Okay.
ducts were in the floor, and perhaps that water that was inside the ducts typically it's because of poor drainage.
Yes.
It's because the water is grading toward the home instead of away. Maybe there's not gutters around the home. Maybe it sits kind of in a hole,
Sure.
or it's at the end of a street where the drainage is not real great. Homes with ducts in the floor, most people find that more comfortable because the heat rises during the winter.
Sure.
When you've got ducts in the ceiling and the air is blowing out, it's just kind of piling up at ceiling level, isn't
Yes,
it?
absolutely.
So the homes that were built back in the 50s, 60s, 70s kind of changed over in the 80s where a lot of the systems went overhead.
Yes.
A lot of these houses do have ducts, and I've got a home that's listed right now for sale, and they've had water in 2 ducts. That's a big one. Water leakage, maybe a water leak in the slab where they have to
Yeah.
go in and drill in and do a repair that's under the carpet of the hardwood floors that you can't see. So, yeah, let's run through a few examples here really
Okay.
quick. So, a seller's legally obligated to disclose, and even if they've never lived in the property but know there's a defect. Now, this is a big one today.
Okay.
I have seen other agents with other companies accept what's called a disclaimer form, which says, no, I'm the seller, but I don't have any knowledge about the home because I never lived in it. And the truth is, if they know of a defect, they're still legally required to disclose it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Even if they never occupied the
Sure.
property. Okay. It's legal for a seller, Dave, to disclose it and not fix it. So as long as the seller says, hey, Mr. Buyer, in a disclosure statement, it's there for the buyer to read. Hey, I know this is a problem and I haven't fixed it, but I want to sell the home as is or in present condition and not make a repair.
Sure.
That's legal to do.
At least you know going in buying it what an issue
100%.
might be.
And that
So
takes a
that's
seller
fair.
totally off the hook.
Sure,
okay?
yes.
And it's really up to the buyer to hire competent, experienced inspectors when they purchase any home. And in many cases, if a seller does, and you and I have talked about this on the show, if they do a pre-inspection, that can actually increase the value of their property.
Yeah, we've talked about this on a show a couple episodes ago, I believe. So what does a seller do with that report when it's in hand, and how can it benefit the seller?
Okay, that's a great question. Let's say someone is moving here from out of state for a job relocation, and they're interested in a little older home. Let's say it's 15, 20, 30, 40 years old. The first thing they're going to wonder is, this is a quick move for me. I've sold my home in Colorado Springs. I'm going to buy this home in Oklahoma because I'm transferring. And I don't want to go under contract, but then find out there's major issues
Sure.
with the home that either have been disclosed or have not been disclosed. So if a seller does a pre-inspection, and we're not selling the pre-inspection this morning, this has to do with, is it legal for someone
Yes.
to go in and sell it in present condition or as is? And even if you're a for sale by owner and you know you have problems, I would highly recommend that you do disclose to a buyer, even if it's a for sale by owner transaction. Let's tell the buyer what you know so that they aren't upset. You don't have to go to sleep the next 2 years at night wondering if they're going to come back and get you
Yes.
for an undisclosed item. So ran some stats this week. If it is a little bit older home, one of the questions is going to be, what's the lifespan of, let's say, an HVAC system? An HVAC system today, according to research, says normally the heat and air system is going to last about 15 to 25 years. Normally a furnace about 18 years. Let's call it the shorter end of that stick at 15 years on the system if you do no maintenance, if you just don't get the system cleaned.
Sure.
You don't have the
Sure.
furnace serviced. You don't go in and change the filters. It's going to choke the system out for return air. So regular service intervals lean toward a heat and air system lasting for 25 years.
Huh.
Dave, those systems are expensive today. And really, service is only probably a couple of $100 every time you have it serviced. That's a good investment.
So
okay?
how many times do you think about a home that, I don't know if you're going to go back to the 50s, but definitely a home that's maybe in the 60s, that HVAC system may have needed to be replaced. You might be on the third one
Yeah,
or the
that's
fourth
right.
one, but it really may be the original one in there, and they just kind of service it and keep it going.
I
or
have
it might be
seen
the
some
second
furnaces
one.
that were 30, 40 years old that were still operating, but be careful because if they get holes in the heat exchanger, it can put carbon monoxide
Yes.
inside the home.
Yes.
It wouldn't probably lead to a death, but it could lead to some nausea or sickness.
Sure.
Other lifespans, if you're a buyer thinking about a home, that tells you that a heat and air system would last about that length of time. Most major appliances, a microwave 5 to 10 years, an oven 13 to 23 years, a dishwasher about 9 to 16 years, and then refrigerators have a good extended life. That you've seen refrigerators that are run 15, 25, 30 years.
50 years.
And they're made to do that. Hot water heaters, they're designed better than the old ones, and with regular inspections and draining and flushing your tank, a gas hot water heater, about an 8 to 12 year life, an electric water heater a little bit longer, about a 10 to 15 year life. Those have gotten really expensive, Dave. I think we talked about it on a different show, but to replace a water heater today, wow, $1,500 to $1,000. So, again, if you're a home buyer and you're thinking about looking at a disclosure, don't just look at the disclosure statement. Let's look at the ages of those appliances, right? Another big one, how about the cost of a roof today?
Oh, yeah.
The materials have gone up. Roof shingles, I'm going to tell you just a quick one, Dave. My previous home, it had some wind damage from a tornado that went through town. Wasn't extremely close by, but enough where the winds were high.
Sure.
I didn't really have much hail damage at all, but I had a lot of wind damage. So finally got a State Farm adjuster, because I was covered with State Farm at that time, to come out. And he looked and said, you've got 30-year shingles on your home, but a 30-year shingle really has a mortality rate of about 17 years in Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I can see that.
And I said, really? And he said, sure, due to wind and hail and snow and ice and extreme conditions, whether it's minus 10 or 110 degrees. He said, really a 30-year shingle, Wally, that it should last 30 years, but really the life of that roof is probably going to be about 17.
So with your roof, did the wind kind of pull those shingles up a little bit, like it went underneath the shingle and was kind of pulling those up?
That's
and if
exactly
that's the damage,
it, yes.
Then when rain comes along later on, it's an easier avenue for rain to get in and damage the underneath and stuff. So
yeah, you're hitting a good topic, because the shingles get more brittle over their life.
Yes,
and
they
I
do.
think when that happened, maybe my shingles were 10 or 12 years old. They'd already become a little bit more brittle as opposed to pliant, and so they blow up in the wind and they begin to crease. And it can break the shingle or crease it, and it causes the granules to be able to come off. I got a new roof. I was lucky. And at one point, I didn't think I was going to, but they did do me good. And so that was a real relief, because it was about a $15,000 roof.
So can a seller be held liable for non-disclosed items like defects or problems that they know about if not disclosed?
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned a time frame, but how does it all go about?
I believe that statute of limitations is 2 years, maybe after closing. And I would just say that hopefully that's never happened to any of our listeners or to one of their friends or family members. But my advice is, yes, you could probably get away with selling something as is, but there could be some contingent liability that would follow you after the sale. I'd just say, if you're a home buyer, get experienced home inspectors again when purchasing. We have this knowledge for our home buyers. And if you're a seller and you think maybe a pre-inspection would do you some good, you might find out some things about your home that you didn't know.
Sure.
But if they are deal killers, wouldn't it be nice to know that?
Yeah,
up
I think
front?
that's a great idea.
So call me at 330-3000 or text me if you like. And I can tell you, we've had Todd Stewart on with Oklahoma Home Inspection Service, and we've talked about pre-inspections. I think they can be of great value to a home seller today.
To schedule an appointment with Wally Kerr to help you or a family member buy or sell a home, call or text at 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Wally will be right back with more of the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show right here on KOKC.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Stoke with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758. Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm Wally Kerr, and if you didn't know, there are 6 big reasons why homeowners like you choose to list their home for sale with us. First is our offer to sell your home at a price agreeable to you, or we'll buy it ourselves. How can we do this? It's reason number 2. We have hundreds of pre-vetted home buyers waiting for their dream home to come available. That home may be yours. I'll show you our list of buyers when we meet. Our partnership with Zillow is reason number 3. Zillow chose our team to help dozens of ready home buyers each and every month. Reasons 4 and 5, MLS data shows that our listings have sold faster and for more money on average for 4 years in a row. But don't take my word for it. We have hundreds of online reviews at both Google and Zillow. See what our customers say about us. I'm a 35-year broker with over 4,000 home closings. My team and I are ready to work for you. Call me at 405-330-3000 at your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, or simply visit wallyhasthebuyers.com. I look forward to talking to you myself. Call me at 330-3000. 330-3000.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
Wally, we have another listener call this morning, and these are great because you can call in and have your call answered on the air during the show.
That's right. Call any time of week. This is a recorded line. You won't talk to anybody when you call. You'll get a greeting from me, and it will just say, hey, record your question here, and we'll answer it on the show. That number is 1-844-211-3817. Again, It's 844-211-3817. You'll be prompted to enter an extension. So it's 1234. Let's have a listen to that call this week, Dave.
Wally, this is Scott. We're thinking about installing an above-ground storm shelter in our garage. It's about twice as much money as just having one installed in the garage floor. Can I expect to get the money back when we sell our home in a few years? Thanks for your answer.
Okay, this is a good question.
Well,
Yes.
I like this because I've sold many properties where an owner put an above-ground safe room inside their garage.
Yes.
And I tell you, people really like that. I'm kind of claustrophobic. I really am.
Yes.
I remember going to the lake, to Grand Lake, with a friend many years ago, and we slept in a camper. And up in the very top of me, you had to slide way back this really narrow bed. And I laid there until I was perspiring, sweating, and just absolutely uncomfortable. I said, I got to move. So Cindy and I changed places, and within 5 minutes, she told me the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Do you know I got so sweaty, I actually had to lay down, and it was cold outside. I remember laying on the floor of that camper. This is like a long time ago.
Okay.
And I was sweating.
So imagine being in an in-ground storm shelter.
I'll get down there. I've had people say, hey, Wally, how many, there's a storm shelter in that garage. I'm glad it's got one. How many people does that hold? And my answer always is, well, it depends on the size of the tornado. If it's an F5, you get 23 people and a dog down there, right?
That's true, yes.
So, those above-ground safe rooms, people really like going in, closing the door, those F5s that have got the triple locks. Here's what I'd recommend. I've seen those put into 3-car garages in the front of the third car, maybe up closer to the front of the garage. That works out pretty good. But as far as resale, here's what I would say. That above-ground safe room, if you're going to put it in a 2-car garage, might detract from your value if you still can't get a decent-sized car in there.
Yes.
So that's why I like his question this morning. So I would be very, very careful, and probably if you've got a 2-car garage, I'd probably put one in the floor. That's around $2,500. The above-ground safe rooms are probably $5,000 to $5,500. I just recommend if you don't have an oversized garage, I'd probably say put one just in the floor, unless you're going to stay there the rest of your life and you don't care.
Yes.
If you're going to do that, do whatever you want to and let the kids or grandkids deal with selling the home sometime down the road. They do have value, and people do love storm shelters here in Oklahoma after all of these, incidents that we've had over the last 20, 25 years. But yeah, I wouldn't put it in the front of a 2-car and eat up all the space.
Now, what about if you're building a home? Can you choose where that safe room is? Could it be in the middle of your home?
Oh, absolutely. And you, probably people have seen
an
this.
oversized closet. You make the closet a little bit larger. Granted, you're using it as a closet, but it is a safe room where you can just grab the jackets, throw them out, and hop into what really is a safe room in the middle of the house.
Yeah, an above-ground safe room is going to be poured at the same time they pour the slab or the foundation, or just thereafter.
Okay.
Just before they start framing the entire property. Those are pretty expensive. I've seen them be $8,000 to $12,000 to $15,000 for an above ground and safe room.
Okay.
But it is nice because you can make it your master closet. It could be, a spare bedroom closet somewhere in the middle of the home. That's one of the benefits of building a home, is being able to go in and have a safe room put inside above ground. I like that idea.
That was a great question this morning. All right, so making renovations versus building a new home, which is the better decision? So I bet you can share a lot of wisdom on this topic. And by the way, stay tuned for our regular segment called Wally's Weekly Wisdom. So I know you're going to impart some now, but we're going to do that in just a little bit coming up in the show. So the question right now, do you make it your own way? Maybe you like a little older home, but it's just not really the way you want it. So you're going to have to really do some improvements to it. Or do you just go ahead and build what amounts to, I would think, is a custom home because you want things a certain way? Which way is better?
Well, first thing is just what's your budget, right? I mean, if you've got unlimited resources, fire away. I've got some great friends that bought a Norman home, and they put into an older home in an older neighborhood, but a very nice neighborhood near Cleveland School. And they put $650,000 into a home that probably wouldn't have sold for more than about $250,000, $275,000 in its condition.
Wow.
But I'll tell you what, I toured that home a few weeks back, and she's unbelievable on design and colors. They would get every penny of it back today, even though it's much, much higher than everything inside the neighborhood, but absolutely stunning. So let's put it this way, Dave. When I travel on vacation, Cindy and I love to go to Mexico. So I always pay for the all-inclusive resort.
Love those.
I want to know what I'm spending before I go.
Yes.
I don't want to sit and worry about how much we're going to spend for dinner. I'd rather pay for it up front and relax for the entire vacation.
Yeah, you don't want that bar bill at the end of the week.
Well, we don't drink much.
No, but I've heard of people that's happened to them, and it's hundreds of dollars.
Well, it's sort of like going on a cruise. The cruises are very, very affordable. But yeah, I've heard of people coming back with $600 and $700 and $800 bar bills. So yeah, we like to pay for our vacation up front. So that's really my first point. If you're renovating, I like a fixed cost estimate, much better than someone coming in working hourly. Have you ever seen guys, a moving company, and you'll see 4 of them sitting on the back of the truck having lunch?
Yes.
And you wonder, I assume they're not getting paid by the hour. And I know that breaks are allowed, and I know that movers work very, very hard.
Yes.
You ever driven down an Oklahoma highway and seen 9 construction workers all sitting? Just looks like they're ready to play poker or checkers.
They're all very hard workers, but I don't know the situation.
Well, and I agree. Absolutely.
So,
I believe that everybody's entitled to breaks, and sometimes you just wonder, you see people standing around. Doesn't mean we all have to be productive and work every minute of every day, but I'd much rather just pay for the job up front, know exactly how much it's going to cost. I'd rather have the contractor go in and pad the numbers to protect themselves, but that's reasonable, right?
Sure, yes. So in contrast, what's the cost to build a home today? I know you're going to say, well, Dave, you can build a home for $200,000. You can build a home for $3 million.
No, this is a fair question, and I get asked this a lot. I remember I used to just get asked, and someone would say, hey, Wally, how much are homes selling for per foot? And that's such a loaded question, right?
Yes.
Because one neighborhood might be, 110, and one might be 280.
Sure.
If you're looking at Nichols Hills, Quail Creek, some neighborhoods in Edmond. So here's how I'd respond to that. So COVID changed the supply line, and the cost to build there for a while was almost unpredictable for builders.
Yes.
And they had to throw in some slush factor there. So it's more predictable today. Labor costs are higher. Certainly labor has gone up. I think in a wide range, you could say that if you owned your land, you could build a home today for maybe as little as $100 a foot.
Okay.
But very easily $200 a foot and over, depending on the quality of the construction you want to get into. Builders are pretty busy right now, Dave. There's not a whole lot of inventory as we talk about here on the show, right?
Yes, that's true.
And so when the existing inventory is down and you can't find what you want, a lot of people turn to building. So good builders with good reputations that have been around for a while, they have plenty to work on right now.
Yeah, they're busy.
They got lots of jobs.
Yes.
So it might be easier for someone to just say, let's build, but it probably comes at a bit of a premium today.
Okay, so what about the old phrase that just popped in my head? Am I going to open a can of worms when I start remodeling? And this might even go back to finding stuff in the home you didn't know about, and that leads to, oh, well, you have to have a beam here. You thought you could knock out this wall. Now we have to change the plans. Now we have to do it. So I know that a lot of that can come up with you remodel as well.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good example you brought up. You see people taking older floor plans and knocking those walls out and opening that up. And generally, a contractor can crawl up in an attic, take a look at the framing, see where a power beam or a laminated beam could go in.
Yes.
A laminated beam is 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 2x4s stacked on top of each other, which just makes it that much stronger. Most builders can go in and do that and look in an attic. And I think my recommendation would be, if you're going to do it on your own, if you think you'd like to tackle a remodel, hey, they can be fun. I think they take longer than what most people think. I think the first thing I would think about is, do you have access to the labor? Do you know exactly what they're going to charge? Are they going to drop what they're doing now to come over and help you? Will they run behind on another job that they're doing? So if you've never done this before, why not call and get an estimate from a professional first? Have a builder take a look at it. Somebody that's a contractor or an architect that knows what they're doing. Okay, so maybe that costs you a few $100s or $1,000 or $1,500.
But it alleviates a headache down the road.
Oh, absolutely. So that, you understand the challenges and the circumstances based on what you want to do. I know several really reasonable handymen, builders, jack of all trades. I have one builder friend who is very, very good named Jim, and he only charges like $125 an hour for a consultation.
Okay.
He's built lots and lots of homes. He's built luxury homes. So look for reasonable trades. You can call me. You can text me about that. The other thing I think you think about, Dave, is just what's obvious, is the larger the project, the more likelihood there is for cost overruns, right?
So it seems like both are good options. You can build that custom home and have it made the way you want it. If you want an older home, you really like the style, just the feel of an older home, but you want to make it your own, you could do that as well. And it popped into my head, when I watch like HGTV or someplace like that, there's a lot of home renovation shows. I don't see a lot of shows on, hey, we're just building a new home. Because there is something about going in and renovating that home that just makes it yours.
Well, there's no more land in Val Verde, in the Greens, in Heritage Hills, in Quail Creek, Mesta Park, Crown Heights. You can go through all of the historic neighborhoods in Oklahoma City and in surrounding areas, and you can't repeat a neighborhood that's got charm, right?
Yes.
So I think a lot of people are going in, especially in a good economy like this. Yeah, the housing market's off a little bit right now because of interest rates. But if you go in and remodel an older home and do a great job, it's got some of the charm and character that the builders aren't building today unless you do a custom home. I think if you have a good budget laid out, and you're a good planner, and you get some estimates in place, and you can get commitments from contractors, I don't see why going in and renovating a home shouldn't be an absolute blast. Just do your research up front, get online, get all the ideas that you can get, make sure you follow a checklist, and go renovate. And then call me, because I want to see it when you or your friend gets done with it.
Have a plan. Just know that you need a roadmap when you're doing some remodeling. Set aside some money for the unexpected.
Yeah, and remember that labor and material costs are up.
Yes.
Everything's up in cost. So what maybe you could do for, maybe a remodel you could do for $20,000 a few years back might be $35,000 today. So be a good planner, do your research, and make sure you've got your budget figured out.
Let's continue this wisdom from Wally. Coming up next, it's Wally's Weekly Wisdom. Fix it now or fix it later. Stick around.
To schedule an appointment with Wally Kerr to help you or a family member buy or sell a home, call or text at 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Wally will be right back with more of the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show right here on KOKC.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Stoke with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758, Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
Looking for your dream home? They're hard to find right now, aren't they? The best homes are being gobbled up quickly by home buyers like you who are finding the best homes at the best prices before you can get to them. Feeling frustrated? Stop the insanity and get on board with a real estate team that will do the work for you. We've got access to off-market homes that other agents don't know about and other buyers can't find. Why? My Guaranteed Home Sale program brings me home sellers every week who would like me to buy their home right now. We call it shadow inventory. Many of these sellers are ready to sell, but just aren't ready to put their home on the market. Some of them want the process to be quick and easy without having to get their home ready and endure a string of showings. Make sense? If you'd like to access these homes and other off-market properties, call me today. Tell me you heard the show when you call. Let's find your perfect home together. I'm Wally Kerr at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, 330-3000. Call me today at 330-3000.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
Well, it's time for Wally's Weekly Wisdom, and today we have Fix It Now, Fix It Later.
I get asked this all the time, Dave, so I thought it'd be good just to hit this really fast.
Okay.
So let's talk about making a home more attractive to a home buyer. Here's my questions. Do I paint it? Not knowing what a buyer will like. Do I change the flooring? I don't know what the buyer likes. Do they want tile? Do they want wood? Do they want carpet? Do I change the countertops? How about the light fixtures if they're older? I looked at a home this week with a lot of brass and old ceiling fans, and the owner said, I'm just not getting the feedback that I want. What should I do? What about the door hardware? What about the appliances? And then what about home repairs like wood rot on the outside, decks that need repair, siding issues, or landscaping? And so if you want to sell your home for the most amount of money possible, my answer becomes, does my home look outdated compared to the other homes for sale? And if it does, you probably need to take some action. Is it going to deter interest for my home if I don't do some of these things? Do I still want top dollar without doing all the work? I mean, am I gonna say, hey, the neighbor's house sold for $140 a foot, so I can get $140 even though I need some work, and that home may just sit there for a while.
That's true.
Okay?
That's true.
Am I actually willing to discount my home for the cost of these repairs and assume that someone else is going to take care of it? The big question, will an appraiser actually allow it to close if the buyer's going to get an FHA or VA loan? So these are a whole lot of questions to consider as to whether you go in and do these repairs now or later.
And some of these, they're not very expensive. If you're just doing the light fixtures, maybe faucets, some things like that to get to what is the more updated look, painting the walls, kind of that neutral color, that's really going to make a lot of changes. Yeah, you might be out $1,000, but how bad do you want to sell the house?
Makes a huge
and you
difference.
can get a little bit more money for that.
Is
too.
your home
You're
a
right.
little dark on the inside? Do you have older colors? But let's hit a couple of these other items. So flooring, I totally understand. I've had sellers say, Wally, the buyer may want tile or hardwood floors. Why would I go change the carpet? And I do understand that, especially in the living room, because wood floors are very nice. Put a flooring allowance in if you don't want to change the flooring. Countertops in a kitchen, most people expect granite.
Too.
They do. And so I would research the costs of granite. I've got someone that I know that puts in granite and has done it for me and Cindy in a flip home that we were working on. Amazingly affordable. So if you know someone, friend, family member, or you're thinking about doing granite, call me and I'll help you there. Light fixtures, you hit it on the nose. Older light fixtures, updated to newer fixtures, can just make an enormous change in a home. When I went in and saw this home this past week, and it had 4 or 5 really older ceiling fans that were all brass, kind of that woven look on the blades, kind of with a fabric. I thought, boy, those really should be changed out, and that would really help the look here. I've also got a really reasonable electrician that will go in, a licensed electrician, and work for customers. Call me on that. I wouldn't worry too much about door hardware. That's easy enough for a buyer to change on their own. I would definitely look at appliances. If you've got white appliances or really old colors of appliances, I would consider changing to black or stainless steel.
Okay.
Whichever one goes with the decor on your property. But I think that more importantly, these home repairs, Dave, like wood rot, like siding issues, these are things that an appraiser is going to point out and say, we'll allow a loan to be taken on this property, but this is going to have to be fixed before closing.
And I think as a buyer, I might see a deck that's rotting. What else is in disrepair that I don't see? That if they let something like that that's out in the open kind of look bad and be in disrepair, what else could it be?
Or it could just be that they're busy and they don't use the deck anymore.
That's true.
And, it's not that hard to go by and cut boards and use a nail gun or, screws to put them in. So decks are pretty easy. Dave, we've got what's called a fix-up program. So a lot of people that call say, hey, I understand that my home might sell for more money, which is always the goal, right?
Yes.
If you go sell as is, you're probably leaving money on the table.
But I don't have the money to fix it up. Maybe I just don't have that extra cash lying around.
So Cindy and I do have that cash laying around to where we can help a home seller make the fix-ups on their property. And if the home seller has enough equity and we can see that they're going to have money left over at closing, they can pay us back at closing so that we can help them get their property in a better condition.
Okay, so I'm interested in maybe doing that. If I'm the listener right now and I want to reach out to you, what do they need to do first?
Just a simple consultation, a quick phone call. Let us analyze the potential cost. Let's look at cost versus value.
Yes.
If we do this, what's the value going to be on the back end? Is the house going to present itself better? Are the pictures going to be better on the inside? So most homes will qualify for our help. We're glad to visit with you to see if we can help you. We just need to see your home ourselves. That's all there is to it.
Well, let's talk about those homes that are ready to be seen, those open houses. And
we've got several
our
this
listings
week.
of the week.
Yeah, and a couple that had really big price reductions this week, too. So let's come meet us this weekend. We'll be in Yukon. We are in Quail Creek. We are in South Oklahoma City in the Westmore School District. And we've got one in Norman. So we love to see our listeners come by and tell our agents that you heard about open house this weekend.
And sometimes you yourself are out and about.
I won't be in the field this weekend, but I do have agents in the field.
Yes.
So we've got one in Yukon that we just listed, 4-bedroom, 3 full baths, 2,700 square feet.
Okay.
3 bedrooms down, 1-bedroom suite upstairs with a game room and a media room.
Nice.
Dave, everything I just described there, you would probably think that home would be $350,000, $400,000.
Yes.
This one's priced to sell at $300,000 at 2105 Bentham Way in Yukon. That's in the Westbury edition.
And they're building a lot of homes in Yukon, and they are going to be 400, some are in the 450s.
Oh, yeah, to get 2,700
Yukon,
feet. Yeah,
yes,
in
for
Yukon.
300,000.
Yeah, you're talking about a 450 home easily with a builder.
Wow.
So this is just off of Morgan Road. This is open an unusual time. Make note of this for our listeners.
Okay.
Sunday between 2 and 3.
Why is that unusual?
Well, normally open houses will either be 1 to 2, which is when we very first list a home, or they'll be 2 to 4. This one was just due to a scheduling conflict.
Okay.
So open Sunday 2 to 3. Come see us in Quail Creek. Dave, you told me when I walked in today you ate at Mama Roja's the other night, one of my favorite restaurants up at Lake Hefner.
Yes.
That's the big draw for me to Quail Creek is not only the location, it's a classy neighborhood. We've got a home there at 3408 Partridge Road that is modern and contemporary and remodeled, and it's built for entertaining. It's over 4,100 square feet. It'll be open Sunday 2 to 4 at $650,000. So stop by and take a look at that one. Got one in Norman in what I call the lifestyle community because it's got a community lake and a community pool, community playground, walking trails, outdoor basketball. This is the Castle Rock community.
Okay.
This will be in Northwest Norman, open Sunday 2 to 4, 3805 Bridgeport Road, over 2,000 feet, and that is a 4-bedroom home. By the way, the one on Partridge Road also opens Sunday 2 to 4. Not sure I said that. And this last one in South Oklahoma City at 1508 Southwest 163rd Street is only about 2 years old. It was built by Landmark Fine Homes. It is priced at $399,900. It's really stunning. Modern colors, great decor. Again, open Sunday 2 to 4 in the Southmore School District. So 4 open houses this week, a couple in Oklahoma City, and one in Norman, and one in Yukon this week.
Once again, if there is a community I want to live in, Wally has the houses.
I've got a lot of houses coming on the market and a couple of really big price reductions this week. Been a couple of weeks since we talked about this home located on a golf course with a pool on 2 acres, a couple of miles from the OU campus, 1200 Southern Hills Circle in Norman. Look that one up.
Okay.
Gorgeous property. 5 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, over 5,300 square feet.
Large home.
Yeah, we reduced that from $1 million to $950,000 this week.
Okay.
So the owners have moved out of state and they are motivated to sell that home. That is a terrific price on a luxury home in Norman, Dave. A really good price. Also have a modern contemporary home over in Choctaw at $12,200, Southeast 44th Street. That is only a few years old. Really cool. You ought to look at the pictures of that one online.
Okay.
That's now been reduced from $775 in price to $725 in price. That's on a small private acreage, trees, pond out front,
nice.
Very private location, really modern on the inside, so very, very cool. Again, $12,200, Southeast 44th Street. That one's 3,700 feet. That's a great buy with owners that would like to sell. Some great homes this week. 4 open houses and a couple of really great price reductions.
Well, fantastic. We'll be back to wrap up the show and talk about the latest news from the feds coming up next.
To schedule an appointment with Wally Kerr to help you or a family member buy or sell a home, call or text at 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Wally will be right back with more of the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show right here on KOKC.
The market is shifting. Do you know what to do? If you're selling a home, you need to realize that market demand is changing, and it's changing now. More homes are coming on the market than homes that are actually selling, so the inventory is going up. What does rising inventory mean? Prices can soften. It's important you get on the train right now and understand what you need to do to sell a home. First of all, my guaranteed home sale program will create more demand for your home because I can buy someone else's home so that they can buy yours. If you're thinking about selling by owner, I can create more demand for your home than you can ever create on your own. I'm Wally Kerr, and I believe in aggressive marketing. My wife and I have done this for 36 years together, and we now have a team of 28 people. If you'd like to create more demand for your home so that your home will sell faster and for top dollar, give me a call today at 405-330-4000 at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I'd love to meet with you and discuss a strategy and plan for getting your home sold. Call me at 330-4000. I look forward to talking to you myself.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Stoke with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758. Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233. Equal housing lender.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
If you or a family member will be selling or buying a home and would like to schedule an appointment with Wally, call 405-330-3000 or go to wallysguarantee.com. Now back to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr.
Okay, Wally, just before we got started this morning, I mentioned to you that this week I did see some of the news about the Fed and the rates this week and not a lot of movement, but then there was reaction to no reaction.
Yeah, it was really interesting this week, wasn't it?
Yes.
So the Fed did meet this past week on Tuesday and Wednesday. They did not move the rate up. And here's what's funny, Dave. That was anticipated that the Fed would leave the rate alone.
Yes.
But then I noticed that Wall Street dropped. And the NASDAQ and the S&P and the Dow, the indexes all dropped. And I thought, why? Because this is what I expected anyway. So the only reason it did was because employment numbers are still pretty strong. The economy's doing pretty well, and the labor market is tight. And so the Fed basically just said, rates right now are 5.25 to 5.5 on the Fed's rate. And let's talk about that for a minute, Dave. I think a lot of people don't understand what the Fed's rate is. They voted to keep it the same, and that's the rate that banks charge to other institutions to loan them excess cash that they need. So home mortgage rates are not dependent on the Fed's rate, but they tend to follow what the Fed is doing.
Yes.
So if the Fed rate is going up, typically mortgage rates will follow that. Remember that home mortgage rates are long-term rates. They're 15 and 20 and 30-year rates.
Yes.
Whereas the Fed rate is often referred to as an overnight rate. I think the only thing the market didn't like, and what you saw is they didn't raise the rate, but the market didn't love it, is that they still see the Fed's rate peaking at about 5.6% this year. Right now it's 5.25 to 5.5.
Yes.
So that signaled the possibility of another rate increase, maybe one more this year. Investors didn't love that. And they also didn't like the fact that the Fed said, hey, we believe that to control the economy and try to keep inflation at no more than 2% annually, that we're going to have to hold these rates up there for a while. This is going to be for an extended period, is what they said.
So if this might be kind of a random question, but if the Fed's rate stayed at a particular number for a long period of time, months, and mortgage rates stayed at the same percentage for months, what does that do to our economy as a whole? If everything just stayed and we knew how it was going to be, are we a little bit more confident in our buying to go out knowing that those rates are going to be that way, or do we want them to move?
Okay, so you just said the word confident. And the minute that consumers become more confident that things aren't going to go up
We're going to spend more money.
We begin to spend more money. Inflation comes back into play.
Yes.
The Fed looks and says we want that inflation at 2% or less. That's what's concerning the Fed right now, is that they stay ahead of the game instead of getting behind the game as they did before and having to overreact to it with 12 rises in the Fed's rate since March of 2022.
So what is the bad part of consumers being confident and spending more money?
You know, it's just that when consumers spend money, it's simple economics. When they spend and they spend, then suppliers look and say, well, we can raise the price. Like I noticed I use this stuff called muscle milk. I work out, and so I use some protein drinks. Went to Sam's Club the other day, and those just went from $21 a box, and they were getting bought like crazy. Every time I went in, they were almost sold out. Now they're $24.50 a box.
Supply and demand,
right?
Okay.
So that's what the Fed's watching. They want to keep things under control. They feel like they need to leave their rate for an extended period to cool that inflation and get closer to 2%.
So they'll make adjustments if it stayed like that for a long time and the consumers are spending money, but then the supply and demand prices start to go up. They go in and make adjustments to help those prices come back down.
And there's so much more that goes into rates than besides what we're discussing. I think, simply put, as we wrap up our show today, this strengthens my position that we'll see little decrease in mortgage rates this year, and probably not until spring of next year based on what the Fed is saying today. There are fewer buyers in the marketplace right now. So that gives, if you're looking, or you have a kid or grandkids or a friend that's looking to buy a home, you've got fewer buyers that you have to compete with right now. I'd love to help them. If you've got a friend or family member, I would love to help them buy or sell. So please pass along my telephone number. There are more homes for sale in the market right now. Fewer buyers competing. It's a good time to buy. And in the springtime, Dave, you and I know that demand is expected to increase sharply.
Yeah, it will take off then.
Well, especially if the Fed begins to ease back on rates, or if they hold where they are.
Yes.
And it begins to pull back a bit. Based on time of year and seasonal demand and the likelihood for lower rates, that is likely to drive home prices higher with the increased demand. So I still think it's a great time to buy a home if you're looking for one.
Fantastic information. Love that we get that on the show each week. If you missed us, you just joined us late this morning, Saturday morning, you can join us again Sundays at noon. And I always like to throw this out there. By Wednesday, you've posted the show online, and we have all the past shows. So there's many different topics, and you actually can search by topics. If people want to, if they have something that they didn't hear today, maybe don't hear next week. They enjoy listening to the show, but they need to go back maybe 8 weeks to hear something. How can they get that show?
Pop on to wallytalkshouses.com, and we have every show. You can scroll through, take a look at the categories that are interesting to you. You can download that show or listen right on the podcast. There's nothing required. You don't have to sign up for anything. We want to make this very easy for our listeners. Or call me at 330-3000 with any specific questions that you've got. Again, that's wallytalkshouses.com. You'll see about 35 shows with all the topics. You can listen to what would interest you today.
Let's thank our sponsors one more time. Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage and Best Protect Roofing and Construction. Wally, you have a great day. You going to watch some football today?
I am, Dave. Always a pleasure. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next week.
You've been listening to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally Kerr. Heard every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. and replayed on Sundays at noon right here on 1520 a.m. and 95.3 FM KOKC. Wally's name is his promise. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. To speak with Wally directly about selling your home or buying, call or text him to schedule an appointment at 405-330-3000, 405-330-3000, or go to wallysguarantee.com. That's wallysguarantee.com.